50 things the English dub changed or censored. Let's watch.
Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, and welcome to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Video. I'm going to try something different today, as I usually do top 5, top 10s, theories, etc. But this video will be more of a rapid list type of video, which is 50 times the English dub of Yu-Gi-Oh! Changed or censored the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters series.
I'm pretty sure there is more than 50, right? I mean, 50 is already an insane number, but I feel like there must be more than this.
I was going to do a top 10 for this, but then realized just how many times the dub changed things in the original series. Like, seriously, I could have probably done a 500 times video, but no.
500 times. Jesus.
Nobody's got time for that. The things eligible for this list are any small changes all the way through to complete motivational changes, which, yes, the dub changed the motivations of 2 major villains in the series, which we will get to later. I'm not going to give a position on whether the dub is good or bad, or whether these censorships were good or bad until the end of the video after I list everything off.
I think we know.
Since I know people down below will have a lot to say about that, and I am really looking forward to hearing your thoughts. With that said, let's begin. In no particular order, here are 50 times the English dub changed the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. Hope you all enjoy. Starting right off in episode 28, there was about a 1 minute...
Why are we starting in episode 28? Why are we starting with episode 28? What is...
deleted scene in the English dub. Taya, Tristan, and Bakura wanted to explore Pegasus's castle to find out if he was cheating. The 3 have to climb up a rope to get to his main room. Tristan wants Taya to go first because he wants to be able to catch her if she falls. However, Taya points out that she does not want to go first because Tristan and Bakura would be able to see up her skirt. She forces both of them to put on a blindfold as they climb up behind her. It's definitely a funny scene, but this scene is one of the more infamous, well-known deleted scenes from the English dub.
Well, I don't think this adds anything to the story, so I don't mind, like, whatever, I guess. I feel like I can live without that scene. I can definitely live without that scene, so I don't know.
Speaking of episode 28, there was a scene where Yugi was having a nightmare in which he saw his grandpa carded along with the Kaiba brothers. In the original, the cards are on crosses or crucifixes, which get set on fire, basically symbolizing a burning cross.
This looks so fire, though. You have to admit it. This looks way cooler than this. This also happened to the Dark Magician, I think. But yeah, I don't know. Have you seen that image where that Digimon, I think it's called Gabumon, is like also crucified? It's really funny. I love it when they use that in anime. Like crucifixion in anime, so cool. I know people say 4Kids ruined Yu-Gi-Oh! But if you ask me, without 4Kids, I don't think Yu-Gi-Oh! Would have been as popular in the West. Wait, you are so right. You are so right, Joel. I think you're right. I feel like it has like it had to be done, right? Otherwise, it wouldn't have been as popular. Maybe it would have been popular for some people, but it wouldn't be like such a big thing, right?
The dub changes the crosses to pillars, most likely to remove any religious references. I guess we'll get to one of the images on the thumbnail for the video. Dark Necrofear was the name of a monster that Bakura summoned against Yugi in their battle.
What happened with the baby? You playing Master Duel after? Probably not.
City Duel. In the original, this monster is holding a nightmare-themed demonic baby that laughs upon it being summoned. When Necrofear is destroyed by Dark...
Wait, also change the body here. There's a thing here. Oh.
Magician Girl, the baby has its own death animation, which is gross and highly disturbing at the same time. This baby is completely removed from the English dub.
But 4Kids did ruin One Piece, though. Ruin! Yes, I think you're actually right. I didn't think about it. Okay, hold on. That is an interesting video concept. That is an interesting like essay there. How 4Kids made Yu-Gi-Oh! Popular but kinda ruined One Piece, because One Piece wasn't popular at the time. The only popular thing was the song, right? The intro song. That was really awesome. But that is a good point, right? Because they made One Piece like too dumb, right? It's meant to be like kinda like have like childlike wonder, but like I feel like they made it too dumb in certain ways. I personally have never watched the dub, but I see the infamous scenes and stuff that are like, yeah, I don't know. It looks like just too silly. So I don't know. And One Piece became popular way later. Also, 4Kids never dubbed when One Piece actually becomes good? Question mark. Which is Water 7? Question mark. Oh no, I'm gonna go into the whole tangent about One Piece. We can do that next time. But yeah, I don't know. For some people will say like, oh yeah, you have to wait like 200 episodes in order to actually fully appreciate One Piece story. I don't know. It's more than, well, it depends. Like some people will say like, oh yeah, Alabasta or Arabasta, I don't know how it's pronounced, was when it's good. To me, I think it's Water 7. But what do I know? One Piece is more violent than Yu-Gi-Oh? Well, they are pirates. I don't know what to tell you. This is meant to be a card game. Oh yeah, the water pistols. Yes, the Censor guns. And I feel like, I don't know. I feel like guns didn't need to be censored there. Which studio dubbed Water 7? Oh, everything got redubbed by a different studio. Like absolutely everything got like redubbed way later, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, let's keep watching this. This is not to a tangent, but yeah.
The infamous handguns. Guns were removed on numerous occasions throughout Yu-Gi-Oh!, which made a lot of these scenes much less dramatic and lacked that on the edge of your seat feeling. One instance is in episode 20, when Kaiba is about to enter Pegasus's castle, and his old employee comes out of the woods and holds him at gunpoint. Kaiba goes on to jam the gun with a trading card and beat the crap out of him.
Dude,
Such
that
a
is so
Yu-Gi-Oh!
cool,
way
though.
to get out of a situation like that. In the dub, the gun is removed. The scene where Kaiba throws a trading card is removed. Basically, after Kaiba disarms him is what the dub shows, which makes the scene much shorter than in the original. On occasion, text was removed in the English dub, which if it's Japanese kanji, I understand, since obviously the dub is targeted for English-speaking audiences. But what's bizarre is even when the text was in English, 4Kids still removed it for whatever reason.
Egypt Air? Why is it written like that? Look at, what is this font?
An example is this advertisement for Egypt Air, which was just gone for whatever reason in the English dub. There is going to be a decent amount on this list that was from the Arcana/Yugi duel specifically, but I'm sure you all remember how different Arcana's Dark Magician looked, the card artwork and the monster itself. Well,
wait, the reprint version of this card actually references the scene? It can stop attacks from hand. From your hand and summon itself. I think that is so funny.
Follow up on that last point, a lot of the times the show has to change the cards to get rid of the Japanese lettering whenever the scene shows the cards in their hands. However, some of the card replacements are so poorly and sloppily done. In episode 60, we can see Yugi's hand, and in his hand...
Oh yeah, that's what it bothers me about the dub, that the cards look like fake. Like everything looks so cheaply edited. And I hate it. I guess by the time it was fine. But it just looks so weird. It just looks so weird. And yeah, the cards that are there don't make any sense, right? This is rare. So silly.
Is Arcana's Dark Magician. Obviously, this mistake was not present in the original scene. Yugi has a mom? Well, it's something I didn't know for years until I went back and watched the subbed version.
Yeah, why was that censored?
Because in episode 50, Yugi has a short conversation with his mother in which his mom is concerned that he seems to be talking to himself when in actuality he is talking to Yami.
But the mom was in the hospital with the grandpa at some point. I'm pretty sure. Or maybe I'm imagining things. Maybe this is another Mandela effect or something. But I'm pretty sure I saw her in the dub with the grandpa at some point. But she never says anything, right? So I don't know. Efecto Maradona. Oh my god. Hello, Laser. Welcome.
Before they went on their date with Taya, this scene was completely removed in the dub. The ending of the dubbed Yu-Gi-Oh! Takes place right after they escape the tome. Yugi gives a typical speech and the show ends. However, in the original, they show a few more scenes after they escape the tomb, including Mai and Vivian about to duel the Paradox Brothers, Weevil and Rex about to duel, and even Siegfried making a business deal with Pegasus. The final scene is Yugi, Joey, Taya, and Tristan all walking to school together with this nice candid image wrapping things up. These scenes were all never shown in the dub.
Why?
After Yugi's duel with Arcana, Arcana immediately rushes to see his lover Catherine. Now, nothing is censored here in terms of visuals, in which Catherine is not actually present and the head falls off the mannequin he's holding. However,
I can't believe this guy actually thought that she was sitting there.
The script was changed pretty majorly. In the dub, Arcana realizes immediately he's been tricked and that Marek is probably hiding the real Catherine to surprise him with later. However, in the original, Arcana is convinced that this is the real Catherine, which is supposed to represent that he's gone completely insane. One of two major...
I mean, to be fair, the fact that he thinks that Marek is waiting to surprise him is still really insane. So, I don't know. Because of American laws, you can promote real-life toy in your children's program. Since the Yu-Gi-Oh cards exist in real life, they have to look different in the American dub. Wait, really? That's so weird. That's so weird. I never thought about it.
Major antagonist who had their motivations completely altered in the dub was Pegasus. In the dub, Pegasus wanted Yugi's Millennium Puzzle because he wanted to use the Millennium items to revive Cecilia. However, in the original, he had no interest in Yugi's puzzle at all. Instead, he wanted to win the tournament and defeat Yugi so that he could restore Kaiba Corporation's reputation. He then planned to use the tech from Kaiba Corp to create a holographic version of Cecilia, which is why...
What?
he was interested in Kaiba Corp in the first place. So yeah, pretty drastically different. Low-key, one of my favorite duels was Yugi vs. Seeker, otherwise known as the Exodia Rare Hunter. He had beaten Joey, and Joey desperately wanted to tell Yugi that his strategy was to stall until he got Exodia onto the field. In the original, Yugi told Joey to stop and to not tell him the strategy because it would be unfair to Seeker. Mad respect, Yugi. But in the dub, they changed it for some reason. If Joey told Yugi the strategy, Seeker was going to tear his Red Eyes card in half. Not sure why they felt the need to change a moment that made Yugi look awesome, but no use crying over spilt milk. In
Honor is my anti-drug or whatever, I don't even remember how
Episode 93, Kaiba has a spell card called Virus Cannon in his hand. However, the dub changes this card to be a trap card instead, even though Kaiba even refers to it as a spell card in the dub. In episode 28, Taya, Tristan, and Bakura all look on in horror as Pegasus versus an unnamed person in a shadow game. Pegasus wins and the loser bursts into flames and collapses. Assumingly, he burns to death. The dub changed the flames to like a blue magical stream instead and doesn't show the victim fall to the floor.
Interesting. That's very interesting.
Want to know one of the craziest things? Well, it will be one of the craziest things if you don't already know it, but the Shadow Realm is not real. That's right, the Shadow Realm was a concept created by the English dub and does not exist in the original version. Basically, the Shadow Realm equals death or hell, and instead of the dub referring to the loser of a Shadow game dying or going to hell, they created this fictional realm. When I first found that out, I was stunned.
No, I don't believe it.
Yu-Gi-Oh series to censor females. The Dark Magician girl's bust was often censored in
Wait, hold on. That is a huge difference. Like, I knew this was censored, but I wasn't expecting it to be like this. I knew this was censored, but I didn't think it would be like that. Huh.
The English dub in pretty much every scene she was in. In episode 78, there is a deleted scene of Mai running over and slapping Joey across the face. This scene is completely removed in the English dub, but what's weird is you just see Mai start talking to Joey, and Joey is holding and rubbing his face where Mai slapped him. So the continuity in the dub is completely messed up because of removing the slapping moment itself. This will be the last quote-unquote violent scene that was removed from the dub on this list. A scene that I rank very highly on my darkest moments in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is heavily censored in the dub. In episode 22, a mugger lures and traps Taya in a warehouse. Now in the original version, this mugger is equipped with a camera and tells Taya she'll do whatever he says unless she wants her secret of having a job to get out of the school. Also, where he positions his camera, it's pretty obvious what his demands would have been. However, in the dub, he simply wants her money and the camera is edited out. In both...
Honestly, this is one of those scenes, like, if you watch this, like, you can immediately tell that this is, like censored. Like, immediately. I don't know how to explain it. It's just, like, the vibes are, like, completely off. Like, you can immediately tell that it was, like, something different. Because he's like, give me all your money, and stuff like that. And I'm like, what the hell? I don't know about that one.
Variations, Yugi and Atem show up and save Taya from the creep. During Duelist Kingdom, there is a scene where Taya is
Yo, is that Gohan from Resurrection F? Oh my god, dude. Oh my god. The American FCC states that children program you can't promote real toys, and since Yu-Gi-Oh are the real, Yu-Gi-Oh cards are real, they had to be changed. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I didn't know about those laws, but yeah.
Changing, and Maya's making sure none of the guys walk in on her. The two girls hear a weird noise in the bushes, but nothing appears to be there. In the original version, Joey and Tristan both try to sneak into the changing room to look at Taya, while Yugi is desperately holding them back. Mai comes back and bops the two of them on their heads. This scene
Yugi's such a king. I love him.
Is completely removed from the dub. Much like the Dark Magician girl, Mai is another character who is extremely desexualized in the English dub. Her bust is much smaller in pretty much every scene when comparing her in the dub to the original. Also, her skirt is lengthened throughout the English dub. 4Kids really dropped the ball on these next two. Then again, you can argue they dropped the ball on a lot of these, but these next two...
Wait, hold on. Before we derail again into a different tangent, and Transformers toys, Transformers in the series... they aren't toys, right? They aren't playable things. They are actual, like, robot aliens or whatever, right? So they are not promoting toys. They are actually robots. And there is toys in real life that are like representing these things. In the card games, are Pokeball toys? In the anime, like Beyblade, I can see it. I can see Beyblade being conflicting, right? Because Beyblades are like a sports object, basically. So kinda like a toy, maybe I can see it. But Pokeballs are fictional things, right? Bakugan, I don't know anything about Bakugan, so don't ask me. Hello, Crispy Applesauce, welcome. Yeah, no show of gambling. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know, but I can say that Transformers and Pokemon are completely different things. So I wouldn't compare them to like actual Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Like card games are supposed to be like toys, right? So I don't know.
Two are just incredible. Remember how I said the cards in the hand would get changed to remove Japanese lettering? Well, in Arcana's hand, during his duel against Yugi, guess what card they decided to give him? Yep, the Egyptian god Obelisk the Tormentor.
Awesome.
And moving right along, there's another scene where he has the winged dragon of Ra in his hand. How do you even make a mistake like that? So if you were making an Arcana character deck based on the English dub, you could accurately include Obelisk and Ra, since in the dub both of those cards were in his deck.
Absurd,
this never
honestly.
fails to baffle me. But
Could you imagine if there was like children watching this at the time and they were like thinking about this and there is no way this guy is actually, I don't know, he had it right there, right? He has things. That is some kind of foreshadowing, right? It has to be something. I don't know. I feel like some people must have thought that and not considering that it's a censoring error. Yeah. You're telling me my Optimus Prime on my shelf isn't an actual alien that watches me every night? Yeah, I'm so sorry to break it to you. That makes sense. Beyblade and Bakugan were probably labeled as magical items. Magical items. That makes perfect sense, Whisper. Or something back then. That would make more sense to me. Well, I don't know, maybe. I don't know. They seem like more like sports stuff, right? To me. Like Beyblade. I assume Bakugan is similar, right? But Beyblade seem like... Well, I guess they are also like toys, like the top thingies. Who knows? I don't know.
But whatever, I guess he runs two of the three Egyptian gods, and we'll just leave it at that. Right after Atem loses Yugi to the Seal of Orichalcos, he goes through a major struggle, and the whole mood of the show is very somber for the next few minutes. Joey ends up punching Atem in the face to try and get him to snap out of his sorrow so he can focus on getting Yugi back. This punching scene is completely removed from the dub.
Damn.
For whatever reason, Yami Marek loved to stick his tongue out. The guy's a nut, so you won't hear me try to logically say why he enjoyed doing it so much, but for whatever reason, the dub edited out all of the scenes of him sticking his tongue out. Now...
But was that necessary? Like the tongue out. Was the tongue out necessary? Does that add anything to the character? But at the same time, was it really necessary to remove it? I don't know.
Not sure why they felt the need to censor the guy's tongue, but yeah, they did. After the Winged Dragon of Ra attacked Joey, he struggled to stay on his feet, and despite his best efforts to summon Gearfried, he ultimately collapsed and
Yes, it adds everything. That is so funny. Oh my god. Have you seen the scene where Yami Bakura eats a steak and it's the most intensely animated thing in all of Yu-Gi-Oh? Wait, really? I don't remember that. It got censored from 4Kids? Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about. That is so funny. Because it looked like he was eating human flesh. That is so dumb, dude. Check his pulse, Yugi. That's so funny.
went into comatose. The scenes to follow were heavily altered in the dub. The quick shot of Marek throwing up in his mouth was removed, along with Mokuba putting his hand next to Joey's face to see if he was breathing. Tristan trying to punch Joey awake was also removed. This scene is about 45 seconds to a minute shorter, and unfortunately much less impactful, thanks to these alterations. Speaking of Marek, let's talk about how drastically his goals were changed in the dub.
I'm more focused on his voice. What happened to his voice? Why is his voice dubbed like that?
Dub, he wanted to defeat Yugi for his puzzle. He also wanted to obtain the 3 Egyptian god cards and 7 Millennium items. He basically wanted to rule the world as the new pharaoh. However, in the original, his motivations were much more blunt. He wasn't interested in collecting all of the Millennium items. He simply wanted the 3 Egyptian god cards and the pharaoh dead. That's right, in the dub he wanted Yugi's puzzle, and in the original, he wanted to kill Atem. Pretty massive difference right there.
Did I miss it?
He wanted the 3 Egyptian more rule the world. He wanted to obtain the 3 Egyptian god cards and 7 Millennium items. He
didn't want the 7 Millennium items. In the dub, I remember, I watched this recently. He told Bakura that he didn't care about it, or that he cared and he just lied to Bakura. I don't even, maybe I'm misremembering. But I'm pretty sure his main objective were no, wait, I think, the Millennium I don't remember, honestly. The voice is still the same VA, is just using a synthesizer. No, yeah, I mean, like, what I'm saying is, like, why does he talk like that? He sounds so weird. Hello, Sean. Welcome. I'm 15 minutes behind. In some other timeline, Bandai purchases Ashes of 4Kids, and old 4K media continues to dub One Piece to this day. I can't imagine what One Piece would look like dubbed by 4Kids during Enies Lobby. I cannot imagine what Enies Lobby would have sounded like. And I don't know, Marineford and stuff. Well, I think craving power of the puzzle is greater motive than I want this man I never met dead. Yeah. Don't worry, we'll get to our stuff, to our dub stuff in the future.
Basically wanted to rule the world as the new pharaoh. However, in the original, his motivations were much more blunt. He wasn't interested in collecting all of the Millennium items. He simply wanted the 3 Egyptian god cards and the pharaoh dead. That's right.
But why?
He wanted Yugi's puzzle, and in the original, he wanted to kill Atem. Pretty massive difference right there. Another deleted scene. This scene of Yami Bakura gruesomely eating on the blimp during Battle City was never shown in the dub.
Why? That was so inoffensive. It's steak. What the hell? Like, it doesn't add anything to the story, but also why delete it? Like, it makes no sense. Like, that looked really good. The animation was really good. Why did they remove it?
Of Yami Bakura gruesomely eating on the blimp during Battle City.
Imagine being the people who animated this and just feel very proud about this scene, like, or shot, whatever, and then in the dub they just delete it. That's so silly. Childhood trauma. What? Why would you do that? Maybe they just didn't want kids to eat messy. Oh my god, that honestly, that makes sense. That makes sense, but I hate it still. Like, I can see the reasoning now, but like, maybe they will complain that, maybe they think the parents will complain like, oh yeah, my kid now wants to act like Yami Bakura and eats his meat like that, and it makes a mess, and it's all because of this TV show. I'm not buying those cards. You know what? That actually makes sense. Now, I'm seeing this as an adult and I don't care and I have no interaction with with children, so I don't really know. But that sounds like a real thing that could realistically happen, and a fear for the people making the dubbing the show. Yeah, you know what? Sure, why not? Maybe it's also because the steak juice looks like blood. It doesn't look like blood. What are you talking about?
Another deleted scene. This scene of Yami Bakura gruesomely eating on the blimp during Battle City.
I mean, I guess, right? If we want to like overanalyze it, right? I don't know. In his mouth? Yeah, I mean, I guess this is super low quality, so I cannot tell. But sure. Alright, let's keep
was
watching.
Never shown in the dub. Another gun removed. After the Joey vs. Bandit Keith duel, Keith runs over to Pegasus and holds him at gunpoint, demanding the prize money.
This is iconic, right? When Bakura killed Shadi, Shadi gave Aogami and the kids the what? We're gonna get to that, I'm pretty sure.
Of course, the gun is removed in the dub, so it's literally just him pointing his finger at Pegasus, demanding the prize money. Real intimidating, Keith. Raphael's backstory was pretty majorly changed as well. Actually, all three of the fighters under Darts and Doma were altered in the dub. In the dub, Raphael lost his family, whereas in the original, his family was killed, and he was the only survivor after a shipwreck. Eventually, he went with Darts to a graveyard, where he dug up his family's remains. You saw the skulls and the corpses and everything. The English dub completely removed this. The Harpy ladies throughout the show were censored and more covered up in the English version. Here is a comparison shot of an original Harpy lady and a censored Harpy lady.
Never forget. Never forget what was taken away from us.
During episode 25. The flashbacks that Mai had during the Waking the Dragons arc or Season 4 were much more terrifying in the original than in the dub. She continues to have vivid nightmares of Yami Marek trapping her and almost killing her while she screams out helplessly to her friends. In the dub, she just kept dreaming that Marek trapped her permanently in the Shadow Realm, but any signs that he was actively trying to kill her in those dreams were removed. One of the more brutal backstories is Marek's backstory. A scene that was completely censored in the dub was the killing of Marek's father. This scene was actually so brutal and grotesque in the original manga, it was even censored in the Japanese version of the anime. In the original version, Yami Marek stabs his father to death with the Millennium Rod, while in the English dub, he simply sends his father to the Shadow Realm.
Oh my god, dude! I guess there's no Shadow Realm. Yeah, we already saw that. Just means dead. Yes.
Flying dark energy discs. During the Yugi Arcana duel, their legs were strapped to the wall while chainsaws were deployed. These saws moved closer and closer to their legs as their life points got closer to 0, which meant they would lose their legs if they lost. However, in the dub, they made the blades purple and called them dark energy discs, which would send them to the Shadow Realm the second it touched them. Yeah, don't ask. At the beginning of episode 14, Mai is wondering about her past and the decisions she's made on a beach. As she is pondering about life, a shadowed man appears behind her, puts his hand over her mouth, and abducts her into the woods. This man turned out to be Panic, who obviously forced her into a duel, which he ended up winning. The scene of him practically abducting her into the woods is completely removed from the English dub.
Completely, I don't think so. It was partially removed. I think it's very like implied. I think you can see this, right? When like he's behind her, I'm pretty sure. Or maybe it's another Mandela effect. Could be. But I'm pretty sure I saw that. I recently rewatched it.
The backstory of Valen was pretty messed up, as all of the Doma backstories were. Valen was a troubled kid and was an orphan who was looked after by a nun. A group of a-holes burned down the church that he stayed at. Valen finds the people who did it, and it's revealed that he either beat them to unconsciousness or killed the 4 people responsible, with most likely the metal pipe that he's holding in his hand. This scene is completely removed from the English dub. Blood was almost always censored in the English dub. Bakura had a cut on his arm that is bleeding towards the end of his duel versus Yugi in Battle City. However, the dub removed the blood entirely in this scene. Staying right on the topic of Yugi versus Bakura during Battle City, one of the most well-known changes was the change...
No, and this actually made it to the TCG, and it feels weird. It feels weird. What do you mean final? Now you can spell anal. Why do you do it? You can spell anal with this.
the card Destiny Board. This was a magic card that Bakura used, and its effect is simple. Each turn he can add another letter to the board, and if the word gets finished, he wins. In the dub, the board spelt out the word final. However, in the original version, the card spelt out the word death, not final. What happened to the Big Five is a bit different depending on which version you are referring to. After they lost to Joey and Yugi, Noah decides what to do with them. In the English dub, he sends them to different isolated parts of the virtual reality world, basically banishing them. However, in the original version, Noah deletes and subsequently kills all 5 of them right after they lost the duel. Another classic gun scene. This is probably the most comical of all the removed gun scenes in the show. 2 goons break into Kaiba's office and try to detain him. They hold him at gunpoint. Kaiba kicks the chair at them and they begin firing. He uses his briefcase to deflect the bullets and jumps out the back window. A real badass scene. In the dub, the guns are removed, so they are just pointing their fingers at him while telling him to surrender.
But like, those are 2 big guys. Realistically, like I don't remember, 17, 18-year-old kid shouldn't be able to do anything about 2 bodyguards, right? 2 security guys that I suppose are somewhat trained. I feel like it should be enough.
Kaiba weirdly holds up the briefcase after he kicks the chair at them because remember, in the dub there were no bullets he had to deflect. The whole scene is just so funny to watch side by side, and again, it's one of those well-known faux pas the English dub gave us. During Yugi and Kaiba's tag duel against Umbra and
Kaiba is strong? Sure. We see him training all the time. Every time he's in the gym or whatever, right? Or like training martial arts. That's why he's strong, right?
Loomis, the stakes were high, as most Battle City duels were. However, the fates of the losers were much different based on whatever version you were watching. In the dub, there was a weird dark vortex below the building that would take the losers to the Shadow Realm once their life points hit 0. In the original version, the loser would plummet down 130 feet to their deaths. Much more humane. After Joey loses...
Wait, hold on. Not as strong as Yusei. I know Yusei like beats up a lot of security. But do you remember Adrian Gecko? What is his name? Amon or whatever? In GX, where he just like take off his clothes and he's like ripped, and then he start fighting Viper, which is a trained like soldier or whatever, and they just start like actually having a yo-yo part 2 fight, basically. Dude, that is so funny. What happened? I thought they were gonna have a duel, but then they just started taking their clothes off and fighting. Why? That was so weird.
Loses to the Exodia Rare Hunters, Tristan finds him knocked out on a beach. Joey feels worthless after losing his red eyes, so Tristan punches him to knock some sense into him, also telling him that his sister needs him. This gets through to Joey, and him and Tristan then visit Serenity in the hospital. This punching scene was omitted in the English dub. After the duel between Mai and Marek, Atem collapses after saving Joey and Mai from the power of the Winged Dragon of Ra. In the original version, Marek takes out his Millennium Rod from the case, which also doubles as a machete basically, and holds it above Atem, telling Joey he could kill him now if he wanted to. Marek threatening Atem at knife point was removed from the dub. Seto Kaiba denying everything about ancient Egypt and the Shadow Realm was a lot stronger in the dub than in the original. While he never confirmed that he believed in this stuff in the dub and would always call it a fantasy world and hocus pocus, he was more accepting of it in the original version.
Really? Really? I was bamboozled this whole time. He was always talking shit about how he didn't believe in that. So he actually did kind of believe in that in the original? I feel so dumb right now watching the dub. I feel so dumb. I hate everything. I feel like I've been gaslit into... yeah, okay, whatever.
I'm not going to give any specific examples. Take it from someone who has watched the sub and dub in full. When it comes to all of this magic/ancient stuff happening around him, he is much more accepting of it in the original than in the dub. As we know, Bones and these 2 other people were basically killed right after the Bakura duel. We never heard from any of them again after Bakura sent them to hell. In the dub, we see a smoke engulf the 3 and then they disappear. The original does it a bit different. We actually see physical hands grab at their legs while a much darker cloud engulfs them. We then see the puddle of darkness on the ground as it is clear they have been sent to hell or the Shadow Realm, depending on what adaptation you're watching.
Why did these guys die? Why these guys died and Weevil is, alive? What the hell?
In episode 90, Yami Marek enters Odeon's room while he is unconscious and holds his Millennium Rod / machete to his throat, ready to slice open his throat and end his life. He gets called for his duel against Mai, which prevents him from doing so. This scene was altered in the dub so that it never depicted Marek holding a knife to Odeon's throat.
Low-key, when I was younger, I thought Bakura sent them inside Call of the Hunted. Oh my god. that is amazing. We're filling the void, right? We're filling the blanks with our imagination. That is awesome. Again, in the dub, he does think magic is real, but to him, he thinks it's always a scientific reason for the things that happen. Waking the Dragons did have Weevil, yeah, but he didn't die. Or did he? I don't know anymore. Because Bakura didn't get to Weevil, he got to them. Yeah, but I'm saying to like a narrative, like why do those three guys deserve to die, right? There were a lot of characters that were more deserving to die, so it's kind of weird. Because Weevil was smart enough to not pick a fight with a devil. Well, nobody knew that, like, who Bakura was, so temporary probably. How far are you into Duel Monsters anime? Dude, I'm still in Battle City. I still haven't gotten to the oh my god, to the finals, to the semi-finals. No, what are they called? I think they're called the finals, right? So I don't remember. They didn't deserve it. That's what they had. They had him do it, I guess.
Another card replacement blunder.
No, I mean to the big love, like they are not in the air, right? They are not in the air yet.
And a big one at that. We might as well finish off the Egyptian god cycle. Arcana had Obelisk and Ra, and guess who has Slifer in her deck according to the English dub?
Ooh.
That's right, Vivian Wong. You can see right here that Slifer is in her hand. Again, I understand they needed to replace the cards to get rid of the Japanese text, but who on the team thought it was a good idea to use an Egyptian god card as a card holder? It has to just be a running gag, honestly. Another edited out scene was what took place during Yami Marek's rampage in the past. Odeon was getting whipped by Mr. Ishtar until he was knocked out. It was implied that he was going to keep receiving whips until he was dead, but that's obviously when Yami Marek was unleashed and killed Mr. Ishtar. The whipping is completely removed in the English dub, so how Odeon fell unconscious in this scene is a complete mystery and a continuity blunder. As Kaiba begins to doze off in episode 103, younger flashback Kaiba, I should add, he gets hit with a switchblade or a whip while being told he has no time to sleep and needs to continue to work.
What the hell?
This item that woke Seto up was removed from the English dub. Instead, he just gets yelled at for sleeping. Mai's past is actually changed in the dub during her duel against Marek. Flashbacks in the dub showed her constantly alone as a young kid because her parents kept getting new jobs and didn't have time to spend with her.
Okay.
However, in actuality, her parents died when she was young, leaving her an orphan. Her parents' death is completely censored in the dub.
No way! That is a completely different thing! That is a completely different thing! What the hell? Why? You completely changing the backstory. That is not comparable. What the hell? Oh my god, that is so... Dude, I can't. Classic anime backstory, dead parents. Yeah, I mean... whatever.
Had a pretty sad backstory as well. The dub claimed that Kaiba Corp bought the land and forced everyone to leave. However, in the original, there was a war going on, and Gozabura Kaiba was giving both sides weapons and basically funding this war. Alistair's brother was killed during this war when a tank his brother was in blew up. This was completely changed in the dub, which stated that Alistair's family was captured and he was actively searching for them. And last but not least, Pegasus receiving the Millennium Eye was a lot more gruesome in the original version. After the eye has been placed into the socket, you can see blood dripping down his face, as you would imagine since he just had a metal eye shoved into his already filled eye socket. Regardless, the English dub did not show this, or any blood on Pegasus's face, for that matter. Well, guys, that about wraps it up. 50 things...
Awesome, dude. Do Japanese kids even have parents? Every anime I see their parents are overseas at a job. Working culture is very different there, I assume, especially during the time of this things. I don't know, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? Anyways, but it's an interesting trope also. They also removed the rest of her backstory, where she worked as a casino and learned to hate gamblers. Huh? Interesting. Can't wait for GX English Censor. Dude, very cool video. Very cool video.
Yu-Gi-Oh! English dub changed or censored? I know I missed a lot because there were just so many things the dub changed. And what are my opinions on it? Well, I really don't love the censoring. I think it's a shame because the voice acting, I have no problems with at all when it comes to the original Yu-Gi-Oh!
That is so true. The voice acting is really, really good.
But changing the script, changing character motivations, changing plot points is what really turns me off nowadays from the Yu-Gi-Oh! Dub. I just don't believe all the censorship that took place was necessary, but hey, that's just my opinion. I hope you guys enjoyed, and let me know if you like this rapid-fire style list, and if there are any other suggestions you have for me to do that could work in a 25 or 50 styled list like this video was in. Don't forget to check out the channel for more Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime content and leave your thoughts down below. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day.
Very awesome video. My childhood destroyed when I watch this later. Yeah, no, I really like the video. I want to watch more videos like this. I didn't think there would be like some of these things were like that. I thought we were gonna see some. I know some other parts that were censored, right? But those are like minor things. These things are interesting. In Japan, you're essentially married to your job. Oh yeah. No, yeah, exactly. So it's more believable to me that their parents were working all the time and neglected her, rather than they just died. Like, it sounds more interesting to me that she had like neglected parents or whatever. That makes it more realistic or something. I don't know. Well, I was gonna say something and I forgot what it was. But yeah, I don't know. We wanna watch. Let's just go to the next one. Let's go to the next one.